Alright battlers, welcome back to a brand new Toxic Cup video. In this video, we cover HoldinMacGroin's 7-0 sweep of the GO Stadium Battle4TheWorld Toxic Cup. Holdin's name is Evan in real life, so you will hear me refer to him as Evan. Holdin is a hilarious name. Go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter if you haven't already. He's an elite trainer out of Canada. Awesome guy. So his team does consist of triple bugs, which I just thought was really interesting. He does lean heavily on Gligar as his lead for a lot of matchups, but going over the movesets just really briefly, we do have Wormadam Trash, a staple of the Toxic Cup. He is running Confusion, Bug Buzz, and Iron Head, the standard set. You do see Ludicolo with Bubble, Ice Beam, and Hydro Pump, his Galvantula with Volt Switch, Cross Poison, and Discharge. I think there was a lot of debate about Cross Poison or Bug Buzz, but Cross Poison does give you some bait potential, and Evan uses it really well in this video. He does have Crustle with Fury Cutter, Rock Slide, and X Scissor. Crustle, in my opinion, a really forgotten Pokemon that didn't get a lot of love, but it makes for a wonderful generalist. Rock Slide really dropping all of the flying types, and then X Scissor doing well amongst the meta. So here we do have Qwilfish as well as his water type, or second water type, excuse me, Water Gun, Aqua Tail, and Acid Spray. I know a lot of trainers are running Sludge Wave as it does KO B-Barrel and can surprise a lot of opponents, but the Acid Spray setup really works well for Evan as well. And then finally, Gligar with Wing Attack, Night Slash, and Dig. Trainers, if you know how many times Gligar gets the boost in this video, let me know down in the comments below. He uses Night Slash a lot, and it's fun to count the boosts. But yeah, if you find out, let me know. Let's get right into this video. Evan's round one opponent will be Alan in a Tree. I'm going to display both teams on the left side. He's going to decide to lead with his Wormadam, Qwilfish, and then Crustle. I really like the Wormadam lead here because it's a very offensive lead. He does have a positive matchup against Wigglytuff, Golbat, Toxicroak, and Shiftry. Here comes our Golbat lead, which is a positive lead for Evan. Out comes Steelix, and he is prepared with his Steelix counter Qwilfish. Now, Qwilfish is going to get to its water type charge move faster than B-Barrel just because Qwilfish does have access to Aqua Tail, whereas B-Barrel has the higher energy requirement Surf. This Steelix has some energy together, and this is Earthquake. It is bad news, and it is one-shotting that Qwilfish. Steelix is still such a monster. Earthquake is a stab type move on Ground Steel Steelix, and it just devastates everything. This lag is really tricky here because it only looked like 2 Dragon Tails got through, but check this out, trainers, another Earthquake, and this is really bad for Evan. He is at a huge disadvantage in this match. He's going to fire off his Iron Head here against the Steelix, and we know that his opponent has a Golbat, but what is the third Pokemon? That is the real question here. A little bit of time here while his opponent thinks things over. He does decide to come in with Shiftry, revealing his third Pokemon. Shiftry is an interesting counter for Wormadam. It has to land the Hurricane if you're in the one-on-one matchup here, but Shiftry is obviously not going to be in that situation. Out comes Crustle, and I really slept on Crustle for a while. It is a great generalist with really nice coverage for the Toxic Cup. He's going to face off here against Golbat, shield up the Shadow Ball, which is really good. Good thing it wasn't a Poison Fang bait, and then go right here for his Rock Slide. So Rock Slide does get stabbed on Crustle, and look at this, taking down Golbat in one attack. He's going to fire off the X Scissor here against Shiftry, and as we know, being a Dark and Grass type Pokemon, Shiftry is going to take 4 times super effective from this X Scissor, so I'm pretty sure it will delete if it lands. Here comes a Leaf Blade from this Shiftry, and he's able to survive it. He's going to outpace Snarl with the Fury Cutter, which is really awesome. Fire off this X Scissor, and this will be enough to wrap up game 1. Going into game 2, Gligar in the lead with Qwilfish and his Wormadam in the back. So again, not leading with that Steelix counter, instead choosing a more offensive lead. Here comes Gligar versus Shiftry, and I really underappreciated Gligar for its utility. It is a very bulky generalist Pokemon. In this particular situation, Evan is running Wing Attack with his Night Slash and Dig. Dig is an interesting coverage move. It is a kind of like nerfed Earthquake. It doesn't do quite as much damage, and it requires a lot of energy for the damage that it does do. However, it can really surprise some opponents. So he's going to go here for the Night Slash, always hoping for the boost. Doesn't get it. Shiftry gets to another charge move, and here Evan is forced to shield. Again, a little bit of lag going on here, but I hope it's not a big deal going forward. He's going to open his switch tray just in case his opponent decides to switch, and he's able to feint down the shift tree with the wing attack, so it's really, really good. He does win the lead. They are 1 shield each. Out comes Wigglytuff here, and Evan's going to go straight for the Night Slash. I think this is the right move. You just want to get as much chip damage in on Wigglytuff as possible, even though it is not going to do very much. So he does have a great answer here in Wormadam, which he does decide to bring out. Switch tray is open. Evan is very, very quick with his switches, and it's one of the things that separates him from some of these other battlers. It really puts him in an elite tier because he can just make these switches so quickly. He's always prepared. Out comes Qwilfish to face off against Steelix, and as you can tell, he wasted no time. Steelix is out of shields this time, so all Evan really needs to do is shield this Earthquake, hopefully, if he's able to pull that off. It's very, very tricky. In spite of Steelix already being a little shifty, he also has to deal with this lag. So the Steelix is very weak. He does go for the crunch there, really trying to push for the Earthquake, but Evan has played this matchup. He knows that he can bleed down that Steelix quickly. In comes Wigglytuff here, and he's going to go for the Aqua Tail. An opportunity there to go for the Sludge Wave, but not a big deal. Aqua Tail is going to KO Wigglytuff for the win. Checking out Evan's round 2 opponent, Doe's Dragon Balls is going to lead with Flygon. So Flygon does have a generally positive matchup with Wormadam. I believe you can go straight Earth Power in the 1 shield, or maybe, yeah, I think the 1 shield and still win. But Flygon does require a high level of finesse to play. Evan does successfully shield the Earth Power here, and expecting a swap out, he does open his tray, but it's not needed. He goes here for the Iron Head against the Flygon, and it does get shielded. So in comes the switch. Here comes the Wormadam, and Evan has a couple of choices here. He decides to stay in with his Wormadam and fire off this Bug Buzz, trying to chip down at his opposing Wormadam or draw the shield. He does actually allow that attack through, doing a little bit of chip damage. In comes another attack from his opponent, and this will be the Bug Buzz as well. The Wormadam Mirror is as exciting as you can imagine, trainers. I'm sure you've played it in your Toxic Cups. He's going to go here for another Bug Buzz. Realizing that his Wormadam actually, its role can be covered with the other Pokemon on his team here, he does decide to bring in the Gligar to try to farm up the rest of Wormadam. In comes an attack, and this actually will be another Bug Buzz. As you can tell there, ground typing does help it resist that. So again, Gligar really showing its mettle as a nice generalist Pokemon. In comes Flygon with Charge Energy, and I believe this will be Dragon Claw. And it is. Dragon Claw is the right move to use against the Gligar here. He's going to go for his Night Slash. Just trying to, again, just chip down his opponent little by little and always hoping for the boost. There may be a little case of over-tapping combined with the lag, forces him to absorb this charge attack. Here comes another Night Slash from Holdin, and again, trainers, I feel like there is a propensity in the Toxic Cup to look for hard counters, and I didn't bring Gligar on any of my Toxic Cup tournament teams because I was too worried about Drapion. Drapion really just collapsed Gliscor and Gligar. He does decide to bring in his Wormadam here and absorb the charge energy, which will be the Dragon Claw. Wormadam does survive that, which is really nice. And again, Evan looking for the swap here. He doesn't want his opponent's last Pokemon to farm up any of this Wormadam that's left over. Out comes a Ludicolo versus Toxicroak. Now, he does still have a shield, so he needs to successfully shield a Sludge Bomb here. I don't think this is Sludge Bomb because only a few counters went off, and it will be the Mud Bomb. But still, Evan is really pushing for the Hydro Pump here, and this will be more than enough. Getting Stab on Ludicolo, this will KO the Toxicroak for the win. Going to the next game, we see more double bug action. Wormadam in the lead, Ludicolo, and then Galvantula in the back. A lot of trainers like to lead with Galvantula because it's such an offensively typed Pokemon, but he is holding it here in the back. Probably is a nasty surprise for whatever Dragon Balls has as well. So here we see the Flygon versus Wormadam, and again, Dragon Balls is going to go straight for the Earth Power, wasting no time. I kind of did a similar thing with Charizard in the Rose Cup, opting to just go straight for Blast Burn when my opponent was expecting a bait, just because it was always so devastating, and the energy requirement isn't huge. I think for Flygon, it might be 2, maybe 3 Mud Shots, so it's not a huge deal. He does try to bait there with the Dragon Claw, and Evan successfully shields that. Wanting to win the lead situation here, he does shield up this Dragon Claw, and then his opponent switches out into Wormadam, but he's already caught Evan's Iron Head. So Evan is going to fire this off. He was already in the process of doing so, and then decided to bring in his Galvantula. So his Galvantula is running a Volt Switch, Cross Poison, and Discharge. Discharge is going to do a ton of damage to Wormadam because it is not resisted. Look at that, just a huge chunk. And as you can tell, these Volt Switches are chipping down on the opposing Wormadam as well. So here comes an Iron Head. and Galvantula takes that no problem. They actually delete each other. The fast move animation just times up perfectly. Confusion and Volt Switch just double KO there. So in comes the Ludicolo here against the Flygon, and Flygon definitely doesn't want to get hit by an Ice Beam. It actually doesn't have anything that can really hit this Ludicolo for super effective, so he's going to go for the Dragon Claw. Out comes the Golbat, and Evan's trying to get as much mileage out of his Wormadam as he possibly can, but this is still not a great situation because Golbat's Poison Fangs are going to be super effective, and he gets them so quickly. He's going to try to get to the Ice Beam here after firing off one more bubble, but I really believe that Golbat will outpace him here to another Poison Fang. Ice Beam does get shielded. In comes another Golbat attack, and the Poison Fang is going to almost KO the Ludicolo, and Evan is going to lose this game. Going in with Gligar, Ludicolo, and Wormadam for this match. This is game 3. Gligar goes into this Wormadam here, and again, a very bulky generalist here. This is a long game. Both trainers are going to play this out and see what happens. He's going to fire up the Night Slash here, first against this Wormadam, trying to get the boost, as always. Again, 3, 4, 5, 6 wing attacks, and another Night Slash is ready. Here comes a charge move from the Wormadam, though, and this will actually be the Iron Head. Evan is going to shield that one up, just trying to encourage his opponent to shield here. There's a little psychology going on. His opponent does not shield. Another Night Slash comes through. Wormadam is generally getting chipped down over time by these Night Slashes. He's going to fire off a third one here, and again, no boost for the Gligar, not a huge deal. Evan's going to swap into his own Wormadam to try to catch this Iron Head, just like his opponent did in game 2, and he absolutely pulls that off successfully. In comes the Flygon here, and he's going to go straight for the Iron Head of his own. Flygon is fast, though, and it does have a higher attack stat, so he's able to get to the Earth Power before this Iron Head lands. He's going to shoot up that first Earth Power here, go right for the Iron Head, and this will get shielded as well. So both trainers trying to hold on. I don't think Earth Power will KO here, so maybe not a wonderful decision to go for the shield and then try to protect this Flygon here, but either way, here comes an Iron Head from the Flygon, or from the Wormadam here. I think this will KO the Flygon, which it does. Evan again looking for the switch trade here, but his opponent is still thinking things over. He does decide to go in with his Wormadam here, and Evan's going to leave his Wormadam in, trying to get to a charge move, but he's not quite able to do it. Ludicolo does not want to get hit by a Bug Buzz. It is part grass, so that would not treat it very well. He's going to fire off the Iron Head here against Gligar, and then in comes a Ludicolo to farm up one bubble. Out comes the Golbat here, and I think one Ice Beam will be enough to do it, but these Poison Fangs are going to come fast and heavy. He's going to fire off that first one there, super effective damage. In comes the Ice Beam from Evan here. And this, if it's not enough, it's going to be really, really close. And it is not enough. He's going to fire off a couple more bubbles here and actually able to KO Golbat. Evan's next opponent is Trexler from the Purple Kyogre tribe. He's going to lead his Trash Wormadam right into Trexler's Gliscor. Now, in terms of team composition, I find it interesting that Trexler doesn't have a Confusion user. He doesn't have Wormadam or Executor. Here in the battle, we do see the Wormadam reaching a CMP tie with the Gliscor. Earthquake is the attack, and Evan does shield it correctly. So Wormadam, being a steel type, definitely doesn't want to get hit by Earthquake, but Evan shielded correctly. Here comes the Iron Head, and that is shielded as well. These two Pokemon really going at it. We're trying to see if Gliscor can reach another Earthquake. There is some lag there, and eventually the Iron Head's going to go off, but it's after Trexler swaps into his Escavalier. So Escavalier is going to face off now against Gligar. Gligar, a wonderful counter for Escavalier. That wing attack is going to do neutral damage to the Bug Steel, but those counters are going to be heavily resisted by Gligar because it is both flying and ground, and Escavalier's counters are not that strong to start with. That Mega Horn is going to be not very effective as well. So Gligar, able to farm down the rest of Escavalier, has a lot of energy ready, and out comes B-Barrel. So here, Evan is going to go straight for his Night Slash. Although this B-Barrel is a normal type and it won't take very much damage, a couple of Night Slashes and the subsequent wing attacks are really going to add up, battlers. As we see here, another Night Slash coming in, and B-Barrel is suddenly deep into the yellow in terms of health. Evan does have a healthy Galvantula ready to go. He's going to bring out Galvantula. Anticipating the switch, he does open his tray, but first, B-Barrel is going to fire off a Surf. Galvantula will tank this, and then here comes the switch Evan was waiting for. Gliscor trying to Night Slash the Galvantula, but he swaps into his Wormadam to absorb the Night Slash attack. So Wormadam here, even though Gliscor got the boost, Evan is going to invest in his Wormadam by giving it a shield and then attempting to confusion down the Gliscor, which he is just barely able to do. Wormadam is going to fire off the Iron Head here, and this will draw the final shield or KO B-Barrel, and it does take that shield. Now at this point, Galvantula does have some stored energy, so it's going to come right onto the battlefield, fire off this discharge here, and that is GG's. Taking a look at this game, Qwilfish lead with Wormadam and Gligar in the back. Really no need to worry about a confusion user here, obviously because Trexler doesn't have one on his team, so he is very free to lead Poison in this matchup. This is a really well-rounded team. I am concerned about dealing with a Escavalier in this situation, but we'll see how this goes. Qwilfish is going to encounter B-Barrel, so the Water Gunners are facing off here. Evan, anticipating a switch, does open his tray, but the switch doesn't come. He is going to swap out here into his Wormadam to face off here against a B-Barrel, and this B-Barrel is just overcharging like hell. It must be at 100 energy at least. In comes Escavalier to counter the Trash Wormadam. Straight for the Bug Buzz. Here comes Evan, and it does land. Not very effective damage, but still takes a nice chunk out of Escavalier. Escavalier is what I call a meta breaker. It can beat B-Barrel and Wormadam, but as you can tell here, it is not very great at beating either one. It kind of fits somewhere in the middle. So Wormadam is going to get to an Iron Head here, drawing that first shield from Trexler, which is really good for Evan, and that Escavalier is really weak as well. So Evan has a great answer here in Gligar. He is going to bring that in and tank whatever attack this is. Nothing that Escavalier has access to can really destroy Gligar. And then the swap here, and Evan is going to go straight for his Acid Spray, trying to draw the shield away from the B-Barrel, and he doesn't get it. Acid Spray does land though, lowering that B-Barrel's defense. Is this a Hyper Fang? And it is, taking an enormous chunk out of this Qwilfish, and then subsequent Water Guns will KO. Out comes Gligar, and it's Gligar with 2 shields against the rest of Trexler's team. Surf is going to get shielded there, and then attempting to wing attack down this B-Barrel, but another Surf comes through. All of that energy that Trexler built up earlier is really going to pay off here. Evan actually decides to go for the Night Slash here. Probably a case of a mistap there because he doesn't charge it at all. He does take down the B-Barrel, and this is pretty much GG's. There's not really a whole lot Evan can do. Evan's team will be Ludicolo, Trash Wormadam, and Gligar for this next match against Trexler. So Evan's Ludicolo does encounter Escavalier. Ludicolo, even being a grass water type, is gonna not want to take those aerial aces from Escavalier. Evan makes a swap here into Trash Wormadam against B-Barrel. This is actually a very interesting matchup. Evan is gonna go straight Bug Buzz here, and these two Pokemon are gonna match shields, but because Wormadam got that energy lead, it's really gonna pay off here in just a moment. So B-Barrel does get to a charge move. It will most likely be Surf here, and it is. Wormadam is going to shield that one up, and they have matched shields, but check this out, trainers. Evan is going to allow the Surf through. Wormadam now very, very low, but he's able to reach the Bug Buzz. I don't know if Iron Head would have KO'd in this range, but Bug Buzz definitely will, and it does. So although he lost the lead situation, he did win the swap-in match, which can be really important for kind of resetting the table in terms of switch priority. Gliscor does come in, and that does allow Evan an opportunity to kind of reset this match in his favor. He does decide to bring in Ludicolo. There's the swap into Escavalier, but now Evan is free to swap in his Gligar. He doesn't want to absorb this aerial ace here from the Escavalier, so he does shield and then swap into Gligar, and he doesn't need to expend any shields here on Escavalier. It's almost a farmable situation, but you don't want to take 2 Mega Horns, as it would put you in very, very dangerous health range. So he is going to go here for the Night Slash. Always trying to get the boost, but again, I don't think he gets it the entire video, which is really unfortunate. In comes this Gliscor, a CMP tie, and the big boy Gliscor does have a higher attack stat, so he does win that one. In comes the Night Slash, and then Evan is going to return fire with the Night Slash of his own. So this is going to be a really, really close matchup. That Ludicolo needs to land the Ice Beam, and whatever chip damage, or if even better, if this Gligar can take a shield from Gliscor, it might set Evan up for success. He does not get the shield, makes a fast swap here into his Ludicolo, not wanting to allow Gliscor to farm up any more energy on the Gligar. He does shield that first one, but this Gliscor is loaded with energy, so he's going to fire off a Night Slash here. Night Slash does not KO. In comes a couple more wing attacks and another Night Slash. This is going to be really, really close. It does bring down Ludicolo, it gets the boost, out comes Gligar, and a simultaneous KO. Going into the final match against Trexler, we see Wormadam with Qwilfish and Gligar in the back. Let's see how this goes, battlers. Here we go with Wormadam into B-Barrel, and again, we just saw this matchup just in the last battle. Wormadam does not have an energy lead this time, so it's a very, very close game. He's going to go straight for the Iron Head, but Trexler makes a beautiful swap into a Escavalier to catch this charge move. Evan is going to swap here into Gligar. We've seen this matchup play out a few times. I bet Trexler is not happy that Evan brought his Gligar yet again, because this is going to be a very easy matchup for Gligar to win. Trexler not wanting to spend any shields on Escavalier, realizing here that there's not a whole lot of upside to preserving it and wanting to save his shields for his Pokemon in the back. Evan does farm up the rest of Escavalier. Here comes B-Barrel, and he does win the CMP tie. So Gligar with a low attack stat, lower than I thought. Losing to B-Barrel, losing to Gliscor, not a very good look, but like we talked about earlier, a very good generalist overall. Evan is not going to shield his Wormadam here from the Surf, instead electing to allow it through. Both trainers hanging onto those shields, they realize that in the end game, those are going to be really important, especially if they pick the right Pokemon to fill out their team in the third slot here. So the final Pokemon of Trexler's team is going to be that Gliscor. Gliscor just yet again, in comes the Qwilfish though, and this is bad news bears for Trexler. He has to realize that this game is pretty much done. This Acid Spray is just going to soften up the Gliscor, and the Water Guns are going to be enough. Very, very good team composition by Evan that wins him that game. In this round, Evan is facing off against Bella, a very notable girl that PvPs. He is going to bring his Trash Wormadam in the lead. I really like Bella's team here, and she makes really good use of Steelix in these sets. You're going to see it. It really reminds me a lot of how Marto played his. Bella's a wonderful trainer, a fantastic battler, and these games are a lot of fun. So Wormadam is going to go for the Bug Buzz here. When you're facing off against a Steelix and it doesn't swap out for you and you're kind of stuck with it, probably most of the time the best strategy is to just chip it down. It's such a beast, a behemoth. Bella goes straight for the Earthquake there, which would have been devastating. Now this match is actually interesting as well because there is some lag, I believe, here in a few moments that really kind of twist this match up. Here comes another Bug Buzz from Evan, and that Steelix is suddenly in the red. Steelix only got off maybe a few Dragon Tails, but here comes another Earthquake, taking a huge chunk out of the Wormadam there. Evan does swap into his Qwilfish, and it is met by Bella's Wormadam. So these confusions are going to add up. Wormadam is actually going to not shield the Acid Spray there. Bella being very comfortable taking a Aqua Tail if that's what it was. Evan is just barely able to get to an Aqua Tail of his own here, and check this out. Huge damage after the Acid Spray setup. Qwilfish really showing when it's backed into a corner, it can do really powerful things with the Acid Spray. Here comes Shadow Golbat, and Evan has a wonderful team composition to deal with this. He is going to wait down the switch timer, bring in Galvantula, and these Volt switches are just really chunking away at that Shadow Golbat. Golbat is already not the bulkiest Pokemon, but that Shadow 20% decrease in defense is really showing here. Just a few Volt switches fry that Golbat out of the sky. In comes this Steelix here, and this is still a very close game because Steelix has a ton of energy. It is very weak though, so the Volt switch is going to bring it down. Going to this game, Qwilfish in the lead with that Wormadam and Galvantula in the back. Evan again rocking that double bug strategy, which has been so difficult for his opponents to deal with, especially coupled with that generalist Gligar. So we do see the Escavalier in the lead here. Not a good situation for the Qwilfish. Evan makes a beautiful timely swap into his Wormadam to absorb this Aerial Ace from the Escavalier. So Evan, again, playing his matchups very carefully, getting the most mileage out of all of his Pokemon. That's one thing I've really noticed about this trainer. He really does make the best out of the situations, even if the hard counters are not lined up exactly right. He knows his matchups. He does fire off the Iron Head here against Escavalier. It does get shielded, so Escavalier really going for broke there, farming down the rest of the Wormadam. At this point, Evan doesn't have a really good answer, and this Escavalier is loaded with energy. He does come in with Qwilfish to attempt to farm down, but he had to realize that the Aerial Ace was coming. He's going to shield that up. A Drill Run would have been really effective, but Aerial Ace draws the shield all the same. Out comes Shadow Golbat, and again, I think Bella really wanted to bring in that Golbat to maybe trap some of maybe Evan's Ludicolo or maybe his bug types there, but Golbat is really having a hard time here against a Qwilfish. Out comes Galvantula, which fries that Golbat, and then in comes the Steelix. So Steelix was the lead for Bella in game 1. Now it's the backdrop of her team really trying to secure the win here with something that resists so much. As you can tell there, that Discharge barely takes a chunk out of Steelix at all, and Evan is in not a very good situation. Crunch is going to take a nice chunk out of Galvantula, and again, just trying to chip down the Steelix and make the best out of a bad matchup. Evan does fire off another Discharge, but he's unable to get to a third one. In comes the Steelix here against the Qwilfish, and some lag shenanigans going on here. It doesn't look like Steelix is getting a move through. Evan does wait, and then here comes an attack from the Steelix. This time it will be Crunch. I do think that's the right move. Qwilfish is definitely within Crunch range. That shield is gone, and here comes Steelix. The Jaws Crunch on the Qwilfish, and that is GG's. Wormadam, Gligar, and Ludicolo in the back. Let's see if Bella brings that Shadow Golbat one more time. Here we go with our Wormadam versus B-Barrel matchup. Now, Wormadam is going to land those Iron Heads, I believe. Evan is a fan of going for Iron Head as it is a little bit more energy efficient than going straight for Bug Buzz. He's going to shield up this first Surf. Burning Shields early in this match, that's not something we've seen a lot from Evan so far in the video here, but he really wants to win this lead matchup. I think he has a lot of confidence in his team in the back. Trying to catch the Surf there, but the confusion animation is just so darn slow. He is going to tank this Surf here and then keep using these confusions here to confusion down B-Barrel. Bella is up 2 shields, but she did lose switch priority. In comes Steelix to absorb this Bug Buzz. Not a huge deal to Steelix at all. Evan, not wanting to lose switch priority, is going to leave in his Wormadam, and these Dragon Tails being resisted by Wormadam Steel typing are just not going to do much damage at all. Poor Steelix can't really do much against a Wormadam in that situation. Bella just taking these Bug Buzzes though, and she has a load of energy for whatever comes in next. Evan's going to bring in his Ludicolo here, fire off a few bubbles, and those will be doing pretty good damage against Steelix being ground and steel. Crunch is going to come through, and now that this Steelix swaps out, Evan does bring in his Gligar. So Evan trying to turn the table around here. Gligar is going to do decently against the Wormadam here, but he is still at a shield disadvantage. Firing out that Night Slash there. Again, no boost for poor Evan's Gligar. Man, that is just rough. In comes a charge move here from the Wormadam. It will be the Iron Head. Gligar again going straight for Night Slash. Evan doesn't even work up to the dig, which I find a little bit interesting here, but still drawing the shield from Bella. Going here for yet another Night Slash. I apologize if my commentary isn't as fast as usual. Just with these matchups with the Gligar and the Night Slash, it can be... it takes a little bit of time. So here comes another Night Slash from Evan's Gligar, chunking that Wormadam down. Evan trying to surprise Wormadam here with the Ice Beam, and he does exactly that. Ludicolo really having a great time there. Here comes Steelix, and this is pretty much, I believe, GG's for Bella. This Steelix might have enough for another Crunch. Let's see. And it doesn't. GG's Bella. Going to this round, Holdin's next opponent is Buckeye Fitzy. I do like the Drapion pick here. He is rocking Ludicolo as his water type. Another Galvantula user, so interesting choice there. Gligar is going to lead into Escavalier, so Evan has already won this lead matchup. He does go straight for the Night Slash here. And then opening that switch tray, hoping that his opponent realizes that he's in a losing opening matchup. He's looking for that swap, but it doesn't quite come. So out comes that Galvantula, and he's actually going to leave his Gligar in here. That ground typing really does Gligar a lot of favors, but Evan really being gutsy, bringing that Gligar in the lead with his opponent having that Drapion on the team. So that Drapion could be a Bite Drapion, just a bit of speculation there, but I'm not exactly sure. Here comes a Volt Switch from the Galvantula and another Night Slash from Evan. I do like the triangle motion he uses for the Dark type animation. That's pretty cool. And again, Gligar just not going away. Gligar is just really tough to deal with. As they say, all of the best fighters, if you can't, what's the phrase? They say, you can't beat the person that keeps getting up. So Gligar keeps getting up in this battle. Out comes a Galvantula to face off in the mirror. Evan is going to shield here and hoping to sneak in a Volt Switch, denies that Galvantula a ton of energy that it's built up. Volt Switch, such a hard-hitting move, especially against a glassy Pokemon like Galvantula. In comes that Trash Wormadam. Evan's going to go straight here for the discharge. Being up a shield versus no shields, discharge will go through. He's going to think about swapping in the worm. And then maybe here, yep, here it is, trying to catch this charge move from the Wormadam, which I assume will be Iron Head, and it is. So, making his opponent waste his energy, in comes a Escavalier, and Evan is going to go straight for this Iron Head, denying this Escavalier a lot of energy that it's built up, not quite at the Aerial Ace, and Evan is going to make it pay. His timing in this match is just really, really superb. In comes the Trash Wormadam here, and Evan has a really good shot here to just go straight for Bug Buzz and win game one. He is not going to shield his Wormadam from the Iron Head here, instead electing to go straight for the Bug Buzz, and this will KO Buckeye Fitz' Wormadam. Taking a look at game 2, Wormadam in the lead with his Qwilfish and his Galvantula in the back. Here comes the Drapion, trying to anticipate that Gligar lead, but it doesn't quite work out for Buckeye. Either way, this Drapion is running Ice Fang as we see here. Not going to do a whole lot of damage to Wormadam. Wormadam will definitely win this matchup in most scenarios because that Bug Buzz is still neutral and it will do good damage here against the Drapion. He's going to go straight for the Bug Buzz. If it lands, I believe it does maybe 40% of Drapion's health. Yeah, maybe 40, maybe a little bit less. So again, chipping down with confusions. Ice Fang not really doing a whole lot, but Evan's going to allow this Aqua Tail through. Wormadam is deep into the yellow. Out comes Escavalier to try to farm up the rest. Evan is going to fire off his Bug Buzz as a parting gift to this Escavalier. And then look for the swap here into his Galvantula. So Galvantula does not want to get hit by the Aerial Ace. Evan is going to do some farming games of his own. I think these Volt Switches will add up, and he's barely able to do it. I think that Escavalier had to be close to another Aerial Ace, but Evan again with really, really great timing in this entire tournament. Out comes Ludicolo, and he's going to go straight for the Cross Poison. I do think Cross Poison is an interesting move. It does have a slightly lower energy requirement than Bug Buzz, thus allowing Galvantula a little bit of shield bait potential, but with such a glassy Pokemon, it takes a high degree of skill to be able to shield bait. As you can tell though, look at this, those Cross Poisons just do not stop. Super effective damage against a Ludicolo. Evan anticipating the swap there, but the Volt Switch animation is just too slow. He's going to have to shield up this Ice Beam from the Ludicolo. Ludicolo should be just about out of energy, so he's going to go here for the discharge to try to KO the Pineapple here, which he does. Looking for the swap there. Out comes the Drapion. He's able to farm down the rest of that Galvantula. Out comes the Wormadam, and a couple confusions win Evan the game. Going to the last game here against Buckeye Fitz, we see the same line, Qwilfish, Wormadam, and his Galvantula in the back. This time Qwilfish will encounter this Ludicolo. So this is actually a really interesting matchup. He is going to go straight for this Acid Spray, and Buckeye Fitz did himself no favor switching in that Drapion because now it's going to get hit by the Acid Spray. It will be weakened, and then out comes the Wormadam, and suddenly these confusions are going to do a lot more damage than they did previously. So here comes the Aqua Tail from the Drapion, and all Drapion can really hope for here is to just chip down this Wormadam a little bit, but it's got much less time than earlier due to the Acid Spray setup. Aqua Tail is going to do a little bit of damage there, and here Evan is going to overfarm a bit, trying to time these Ice Fangs, firing off the Iron Head right before the next Aqua Tail arrives, and it does KO the Drapion. Wormadam being very, very low though. This is actually not a terrible situation, but he has gained a lot of energy from that extra farming, so he goes straight for the Iron Head here against the Gliscor. That will get shielded. Buckeye Fitz giving his first shield away. In comes the Qwilfish, and this is going to really chunk down at Ground-type Gliscor. Evan deciding to shield the Night Slash there, protecting his Qwilfish, and aiming for another Acid Spray setup. I think if Qwilfish survives this Ice Beam, it will get it off, and he's easily able to do that. In comes the Acid Spray, and Evan really just, really the alley-oop slam dunk here with his Qwilfish, setting up the rest of his team really well. I was curious about the Acid Spray pick as a move. I know a lot of trainers are running Sludge Wave because it can really surprise things like B-Barrel and the grass types, but Evan making good use of the Acid Spray. It works really well with the rest of his team composition. So he does have his Galvantula, but this Ludicolo does have energy. He brings in his Wormadam, just trying to get a little mileage out of it before it faints, which he does. In comes a Galvantula, and as you can tell, that Volt Switch already went through, so this Ludicolo is going to be KO'd after the Hydro Pump. And then out comes Gliscor, and suddenly not a good situation for Evan. He's going to go straight here for the discharge. Maybe worth saving his Wormadam for the Gliscor in the back, but it did have very low health, so it's hard to say either way. Here comes a charge move from Gliscor, and this will be Earthquake, finishing off Evan and winning Buckeye the match. Evan's next opponent is Crimson K19 with the Finesse Master Flygon. He is also rocking that Crustle and Wormadam, standard Escavalier, and B-Barrel with Golbat as his anti-fighter flying poison type. So Gligar is going to win this matchup here against Escavalier. Again, no Ice Fang Drapion on Crimson K's team, so a good idea to lead Gligar as a generalist. Out comes the Flygon here. Evan does open his switch tray a couple times. I'm not really entirely sure what he was thinking there, but he does eventually swap in his Qwilfish to deal with the Flygon. Flygon needs to land Earth Power here to KO the Qwilfish. Will he do it? And he does. Devastating attack, Earth Power. Geez, those mud shots are just so hard to count, especially mid-game and late-game after some switch-ins. Flygon can be really dangerous. I do love Flygon primarily as a switch-in, which is how Crimson K used it here. Really, really good gameplay there. In comes a shield from the Gligar to protect against the Dragon Claw, attempting to farm down, but Evan's going to be forced to go here for his Night Slash because those Dragon Claws are going to come really quickly. He does finally bring down the Flygon, but he paid a heavy price. Out comes this Wormadam, and Evan, looking there at his Crustle, makes a swap here. Crustle, an interesting choice to bring in here because it will be weak to this Iron Head, being a part rock type. Wormadam also already has energy and is up 2 shields. In comes Escavalier, and I really think Crimson K just had a better team composition in this match. There's not a whole lot Evan can do. Crustle is going to burn shields really quickly because Fury Cutter does charge up extremely fast. He's going to fire off that first Rock Slide, attempting to get to a second Rock Slide here, and if Evan plays his way out of this match, I'm going to be really surprised. This is really, really interesting game. Dropping that second Rock Slide, drawing the second shield. Both trainers are 0 shields each. In comes that Gliscor, and again, that poor attack stat, just losing the CMP tie to the Escavalier, and then it's pretty much going to be GG's because there's no way a Gligar this week can handle anything in the back. He does take down Escavalier, out comes that Wormadam, and that is GG's for game 1. Going to game 2, an entirely different team composition. Gligar with the Ludicolo and Galvantula in the back. Gligar is going to encounter that Wormadam, so again, a very safe lead versus non-Ice Fang users. Evan is going to charge up a ton of energy here, almost working up to the dig. Part of me this entire video has wanted him to bait with threaten the dig and then bait with the Night Slash, but it just hasn't happened for us. Here comes a Night Slash from the Gligar. Chipping a little bit of that Wormadam, in comes the Flygon here, and this Gligar is going to make good use of its energy. I do think a swap is coming here. In comes the Ludicolo, so a much better answer against the Flygon than the Qwilfish was, especially considering Earth Power. This is going to be a straight Dragon Claw matchup, I believe. I don't think there's any reason to go Earth Power here. Evan going to allow a second Dragon Claw through. That takes about a third of Ludicolo's health, so it is getting pretty weak. He cannot allow a third one. He's going to go straight here for his Ice Beam, and I really love the finesse movement on this Ludicolo with the Ice Beam. I think it really matches Ludicolo's personality. A little bit of a nerd moment there by me, but I apologize. In comes a Dragon Claw here from Flygon to take down Ludicolo. Evan, holding onto his shields here, decides to bring in his Gligar, and he's finally able to bring his Night Slash here to take down the Flygon. He's finally able to bring in Gligar, get off a charge move, and not be denied because of CMP. That's what I was trying to say. So here comes our Galvantula facing off against the Wormadam. Evan finally going to burn his shields here, and I do think this is the right Pokemon to burn shields on, being the glassiest on his team. He's going to go straight for the Cross Poison here. That looked a little shaky, maybe a little bit of lag, but Evan is going to hold on to this matchup. Drawing that first shield, which is really, really great. Here comes the Discharge. This will take a healthy chunk out of this Escavalier. Wow, it does a huge amount of damage, actually. Evan electing to shield up his Galvantula here, hoping to Volt Switch down this Escavalier, which he's able to do. So he does have some energy loaded, trying to push for that discharge, and he gets there after a little bit of lag. Confusion comes through, but I think this is enough to win it. And he does. Really good Galvantula play in the back there. Here comes the last game of the match. We have Wormadam, Gligar, and Galvantula. He's got a pretty good formula here, but he's led Gligar twice, so he's going to try to switch it up with the Wormadam lead. Wormadam does encounter Flygon here, so straight Iron Head is the name of the game. Flygon possibly going straight Earth Power. Evan is going to shield, anticipating that, and he does predict correctly. Earth Power does get shielded. Evan going for a couple more confusions there, and then finally for the Iron Head. So this matchup is really crazy. They do swap simultaneously, and Evan is going to win this swap in really hard. He does swap into his Gligar here, and I think finally pushing for the dig. Is he going to reveal the dig on his Gligar here in the third game against Crimson? And he does. Will this land, battlers, and will it wreck Wormadam? And it does. Look at that. How funny. He doesn't reveal it until the semifinals of the Battle for the World tournament. Very, very fun moment there. He's going to fire up the Night Slash and finally bring down the Wormadam. Crimson is in a bad spot here, really running out of options. He does bring in his Crustle here. Sorry, I had to get that one out. I wasn't sure if it was Gliscor because I noticed the Fury Cutters, but here comes Here comes a Galvantula from Holdin. He's going to bring that in here against Crustle, and really Galvantula does not want to tank a Rock Slide from the Crustle. Being a bug type, it would be super effective. He does Shield Bait there with the X-Scissor. In comes the Volt Switch here from Galvantula. It does land. Crustle getting KO'd by the Volt Switches, and here comes Flygon. Evan is going to try to go there for the Cross Poison. Probably a case of over-tapping because he does miss it. In comes our Earth Power to bring down Galvantula. Here comes Flygon trying to bring the match back, but it's got such low health. I think Evan can Confusion down, but the Earth Powers are flying. Another Earth Power. If Flygon gets to another Earth Power, it will KO, but Evan is... Oh, he's not able to hold on. Is this a Dragon Claw or is this an Earth Power? Dragon Claw. Wormadam survives. Confusion for the win. Battlers, I have bad news. This is the championship round against Hump Styles, a very notable trainer. We only have one game because the screen recorder failed, so this is it. Here we go with Gligar leading into Drapion, but is it an Ice Fang Drapion? It is not. Bite Drapion, and this Gligar still proving its mettle as a nice, safe lead, but those bites are chunking down. Drapion is going to get to a charge move here, which I assume will be Aqua Tail, but it's actually the Fell Stinger, boosting these bites even further. Hump Styles really trying to shred through Evan's team here early on with a boosted Drapion. Once Drapion gets rolling, it is like a train. It is hard to stop. Evan going for Night Slashes here against Drapion, and he finally gets the boost. Such an awesome moment for Gligar here, getting to another Night Slash. Finally, man, dig and getting the boost in the last two games. This is really nuts. Drapion finally brings down the Gligar, but he did force Hump Styles to spend a shield. So Evan up a shield, is going to bring in his Galvantula. That Volt Switch went through, so I believe this will KO. And it does. Drapion's energy wasted there due to the Galvantula really playing spoiler against a lot of these Pokemon with energy just because the fast move does so much damage. In comes a Flygon here, swapping to absorb this Dragon Claw. Very nice play by Evan. He really has to play mistake-free here in the championship against such a high-level trainer like Hump Styles. He's going to swap here into Golbat, and this is not good for Hump Styles. Bringing in the Poison-type Golbat to deal with the Wormadam is not a good look, and he does have that Galvantula in the back. So the biggest challenge here is getting rid of the Flygon. Wormadam holding steady, going to fire off the Iron Head here, which does land, trying to force Evan to spend his energy, and I think this is another Poison Fang, which it is. Confusion will KO that Golbat, and Evan's got a ton of energy. He's going to go for Iron Head here against a Flygon, and this is not a great situation for either trainer. It's going to be really dicey. Hump Styles allowing that through. Evan with a fast swap here into his Galvantula. Discharge is going to get shielded, of course. Evan is still up a shield, but these Volt Switches are slowly doing work. Here comes a Cross Poison, and I think this is enough to win the championship. Evan does claim the title, 7-0 in the Battle for the World Toxic Cup. Really impressive play by this elite trainer. Go and give him a follow on Twitter. I will leave a link to his Twitter handle down in the description below. Trainers, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like, comment, and subscribe to see more Silph Arena and Go Battle League videos.